Hey guys, alright, so we are moving on with this project. I think this is the first scene of the video number 2. Hopefully we can get it all done on this video. That's what I'm hoping. So anyway, I've got it all sprayed black, masked it off obviously on both sides. So I got both logos sprayed black. Now we're going to do some sanding and we'll see what it looks like. So here we go. So I'm using my disc sander, and I don't want to I want to keep it fairly smooth, so I just have an 80 on here, where sometimes if I'm carving a lot, or excuse me, sanding a lot, I'll use a 60, but I'm just going to use an 80 on here because there's not that much to do and I don't want to go too rough. And then I've got the 120 on my random orbital. All right, here we go. Let's see what it looks like. So I forgot to mention that before the camera went on, I had sanded all of this with my 120 all out on both sides of the board, so I didn't need to do much of that. Okay, very good. Now I'll flip it and over and do the other side. Got a few little high spots there, but that's not anything that's going to be a big deal. This one should do it. So there it is, guys. Now on the other side, I think I'm going to color in some black, especially on the inside of the fish there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the...
Hold it up a little?
Huh?
Hold it up a little?
So I'm going to take the original artwork, and you can see how some of those areas on the fish and the pheasant, I'm going to color those in to match. So I just got to go find the pen that I want to use, and I will color those in to match those images as much as I can. And then I'm just going to go over everything really closely and check out my sanding, make sure I didn't miss anything, and we're going to move on to the finishing process. So we'll be back.
Hi guys, welcome to my shop. So Eric did all the carving on this serving board, and it's beautiful. It's an amazing board. He did an awesome job there. So now we have to figure out, or we've kind of figured out, how to resin both sides. We've got to put resin on both sides of this board.
We think we figured it out.
We think we figured it out. So what we did was we taped, or halfway up the, what is that, width of the board here?
Thickness, yeah.
Thickness of the board. And we're going to pour the one side, and the theory is that it's going to just kind of roll down the tape and onto the table, and we're going to do a flood coat. And then once that dries, we're going to pull the tape off, we'll flip it over, we'll tape it again opposite, and then pour the other side, and there will be a seam that, or build up, dried line, whatever you want to call it, on this side. But then what we can do is sand that down and just put a light brush coat over the top of that and even it out. So in theory, that's how it's going to work. So after Eric got done carving the board, he sprayed it. What was 3 coats?
3 coats each
Three
side,
coats
yeah.
of this clear gloss finish. And that reason being that it's going to hopefully help seal the wood so that there's not as many bubbles once we pour the resin on it. That has always worked for us in the past, and when we haven't done it, we have had a lot of bubbles. So
and down in the carving especially, that seems to be an area that typically we've had a lot
so
of
he
bubbles.
really sprayed that good. And now, again, we're using total boats. I've mixed up 12 ounces of resin and 12 ounces of hardener for a total of 24 ounces.
So I'll go ahead and start, babe. I'm just going to talk. We thought over and over and over about how to do a resin, and did you look online and see if there were any YouTube videos
I
on
saw
this?
no videos on doing two-sided.
I couldn't find any videos on somebody doing a two-sided pour with epoxy. So anyway, this is our theory of it's going to be much easier and safer to do any sanding or blending on the edge rather than having drips on one side and then grind them off and being able to have a decent blend. So we
That's
thought,
our theory. That's our
so
story.
we thought
We're sticking to it.
if we just had to deal with the edges all the way around, that should, in theory, be a better
Cover,
a little bit easier to blend it in.
And here goes Vicky making a mess. This is my favorite part.
And you guys know I'm not a camera guy, so I'm just trying to do the best I can here. Based on what you see so far, it looks like there'll be enough, huh?
Yeah, there should be enough. We used, or Eric used, the, it's actually an art resin calculator to determine how much resin we should use. You put the weight, the height and the length of the board, and it gives you a calculation of how much resin you'll need to cover it for a flood coat. So that's what we did. And it said, I think it said, what, 25 ounces, huh?
It did, said 25, yeah. Yeah, you got more than enough.
Can
there.
you see if I got everything over on that? If it looks like everything's covered.
On the front edge?
On that back,
yeah,
yeah. Well,
let me take a
back
look.
edge to me here.
I'll try and... I got to step in front of the camera just for a second, guys. Let me take a look at this. Yeah, it sure does look like it to me. I see, you know, drips pretty much the whole distance of the tape.
Feels like it's all covered.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure looks like it to me.
This is such a beautiful board.
I love this white poplar.
Okay. Now, bring out my hand there. I'll have to keep watching that because I do see bubbles coming up, but they tend to pop on their own kind of too. So, and my theory of that, you know, dripping off the side, what my concern was, if you tape it underneath and then the resin, you know, goes under and creates those drips, that's sometimes a little bit more sanding than I really wanted to do. So I was hoping that it would just drip onto the wood, I mean the table, and then we could just pull that off. Torch this again. And I'll just keep coming out every 15 or 20 minutes. There's no actual like bubbles that I can see coming up anywhere. You know, like in the carving where I've had issues before. So anyway,
well, that's good to hear.
Let's
hope
that.
It stays that way.
Yeah, that's that. And we'll let you know how it goes when we come back. We'll be peeling this off, taping it up, and flipping it over to do the other side. So thanks for watching, guys. Stay with us. We'll be back in a little bit. Alright guys, so it's been a couple of hours and Eric came up with the idea to pull the tape off. This resin is set enough, it's not going to drip anymore. You can see we've got some stringy stuff here, but as long as we pull this down, it's not going to go across the board. I'm going to go here in front of you a minute.
Yeah, so I, just got to thinking about it, and Vicki and I discussed it, and it's like, once that resin dries completely and it gets hard, it's really tough to get that blue tape off.
Without doing a lot of sanding.
Without, a lot of cleanup and sanding and knife work and all kinds of stuff. So I thought, well, if it's set up enough to where it is solid enough that it won't drip beyond that, and we can pull that tape off more in one piece, not one piece, but pull that tape off easily, then that might save a lot of work tomorrow when we do the second coat on the other side. Sorry about the camera work, guys. I'm on a tripod here and trying to move it around. So you can, I don't know if you can see it, but it kind of leaves just a ridge right there on the end. Yeah, you can see it probably right there. But what we're planning on doing is taping to that once the other side is dry, and then theoretically pour the other side.
Should be able just to take a little bit of 220 sandpaper to that.
Yeah. But again, our idea of being able to do it and do any cleanup on the edges is far superior than having to do it on that glass top finish like you would normally have with drips and stuff. So
hold my rub off.
and let's just take a closer look at the actual project here. Back out just a little bit. It looks basically flawless.
There's a few little flaws, but
Little
you really
tiny
have to
micro
get down in there
bubbles,
and look
but
at it.
pretty much it looks flawless. Vicky did an amazing job on that resin. The real trick is, can we pull it off on both sides? I think if we had let it sit much longer, it would have been tougher to do. But look at that. Look at that. Now we've got a nice edge to go to on all the way around, and I guarantee that would have been, if we let that dry completely, that would have been a couple hours of work.
Yeah.
No
This
doubt.
is just going to be a real light sand to get that lip up off of there.
Yeah.
But man, over here it's just like a perfect straight line.
Perfect. Good, good, good.
All right.
So, next, you guys, I guess you'll see us pouring the other side. Oh, no, actually, no.
You got something else to do.
Now it's back
first.
to me. Yeah, after this dries, now it's back to me, and then do another piece that I've got to do, and then back to Vicky to pour the other side. So we'll be back. All right, guys, it's back to me. So before we pour another coat on this, which is going to be tomorrow, Vicky and I talked about it, we're going to leave it a full 48 hours in between coats to make sure that this coat on the first coat that we did is set up. But in between that, what we're going to do is I went on and I found some handles. Again, I
It
can't,
doesn't show against your black shirt.
I can't remember whether I've talked about this, but this is going to be a serving board, a reversible serving board. So that I needed handles on both sides. Clay and I had a long talk about it. But anyway, so I need to apply the handles on the side that's got the resin, so that when we pour the second side, the handles will already be there. They're not only the handles, but they'll be braces or feet from underneath. So underneath it'll look like that. This will be the feet, and then on top it'll be the handles. You'll see. Anyway, trust me. Yeah, we'll see. But how I'm going to apply them is a little bit different than what I've done. I did an experiment that came out pretty good. This is just a scrap piece, and this is how the handle applied. And so what I did was I drilled holes, and I used 5-minute epoxy, some of this stuff, and then I just fill the holes with 5-minute epoxy, and then I push the whole thing down with the studs on it. Now, how I got these studs, let me show you. these are handles. I bought a 10 pack of these handles, and they come with 2 different kinds of screws. They come with these screws, which are your typical screws like for drawers, and then they also come with these segmented screws.
Let me see if I can.
And these are made so that you can snip these off at whatever length that you want them. But what I did is I'm snipping this part off to make it a stud that screws into the handle, and that's exactly what I did here. I snipped the top part off, and then I just screwed them in. So these handles are, these are tight in there. I didn't glue them, but they're tight. They don't need to be glued because they can't go anywhere. Anyway, so that's what I'm going to do now. This one's already done. I'm going to put it at this end, and this one. So all I did, now you can do it with a series of pliers, but I happen to have a little bolt cutter or a screw cutter. So what I'm going to do, I know I didn't prepare you for this, babe. I don't know if you can.
I got it.
You got it?
Yeah.
Oh, it doesn't even. Oh, okay. So the first thing that you got to remember when you're doing something like this is don't touch it. So that's why I've got these gloves on. I do not really want to touch that any more than absolutely necessary. So let me cut my other stud here. So what I'm trying to do is cut it right on that little blank spot. Alright, let's put that. Now, that part that I just nipped off of there, that will go into the actual sign itself, and then I'll just screw this in. The other thing that you want to do when you're working on a project like this, guys, and I'm sure you already know, you want to take your time. I've been out here for about 2 or 3 hours figuring out how I wanted to do this. I just want to make sure this is screwed all the way in. I don't have to worry about messing up those threads because they're going to be filled with glue. So then what I did was I went to the ends and I marked. I didn't want to put anything on the surface at all. I put a piece of tape where I want my handles to fit in this orientation. So what I did is I made myself a quick little jig, and these holes correlate perfectly to the center of these studs. So what I'm going to do, and I've got bubble wrap on the bottom of it. Again, I do not want to touch the surface of this thing. I'm a little bit paranoid about it because Vicki did such a fantastic job with that resin. The last thing I want to do is mess that up. So I think I'm going to come in 2 inches in, and this is exactly the same length as the handle itself. So I know that that's centered because I figured that out earlier. So that's in the position that I want it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill those holes. I should have had this already set up, but Vicky's taking a deep breath. Now, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill, now that was just my marking. Now I'm going to put in a bigger drill bit, and this will be the hole that is a little bit bigger than this, so that I can put that 5-minute epoxy in. I didn't make a mark on how far to drill it, but I'm just going to eyeball it. No, I'm not going to eyeball it, actually. I'm going to throw a piece of tape on there. Again, I got to talk to myself and not rush through this thing. So about there is going to be enough. There. Now I know I'm going to drill the right length of hole. Just a little bit further than those studs are sticking out. Now, if I did everything right, this should fit in there. Let's find out. Yep, those will fit in there just fine. A little bit tight. I could open those up a little bit, but I definitely wanted that to be less diameter than the actual base of the handle, which I cleared it by quite a bit. So what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to do the other handle just like this, mark it, drill it, get it ready to go. Then when we come back, we'll mix up our epoxy and put it down in those holes, and we'll glue our handles on. We'll be right back. So here we go, guys. I've got the 5-minute epoxy mixed. I'm using some of Vicky's little...
They're actually hors d'oeuvre sticks.
Was that what they are?
Yeah.
Oh, I never knew that. So many of you would ask, well, why didn't you put the handles on first before you put your resin on? My biggest worry is that I would leave air pockets down in there, and that would cause bubbles around those handle bases. So that's the main reason that we decided to pour the resin first. I think that's going to be enough. I just don't, it's kind of hard to say what's enough and what's too much. Too much, I guess, would be when it squeezes out. That's not the hole.
Sorry.
Just gave Vicky a heart attack.
A little panic attack there. I'm sorry.
Me too. I'm glad I caught it before I put it down in there.
Ooh.
That was a big gob. This is very nerve-wracking, guys.
It doesn't help when your wife is panicking back here.
I really don't want any of this adhesive showing.
Oh, like that string
like
that you just did.
We'll have to find out, well, I'll read the instructions and find out what you can clean this stuff up with. All right, let's put this one in. Well, there it is. I'm hoping I got enough in there. I'll test it out after it dries.
There's a fly that keeps
We'll
buzzing around my eyeballs.
Feels like it's starting to set up a little bit. It is 5-minute epoxy. Oh man, that's a big gob. I don't want that much. Maybe I just need to mix up another batch here. Oh, darn it.
It's getting stringy.
Yeah, That's the problem. All right, guys, I'm not even going to do this extra hole. I'm going to mix up some more and read the directions and find out how I can clean that, clean those strings up. So we'll be right back. All right, I'm sorry, guys. I wasn't. Vicky found out that rubbing alcohol cleans this stuff off. So that's what we did. Did you get the other end too, babe?
Yep.
All right, there it is. Woo! Panic time.
Yep, and that rubbing alcohol works.
Yeah, I don't see any sign of it at all. Okay, so there we go. And I just got glue on that handle. Can you get that with rubbing alcohol? So this 5-minute epoxy, I really should have done both those ends separately because we really got under the gun there when I was trying to do them both at the same time.
I'm gonna throw this away.
Yeah, that's fine. All right, guys. Sorry, we're trying to clean up here. So anyway, there it is. That's how I'm attaching the handles. So on the next scene, if all goes well, will be tomorrow morning, and Vicky will be pouring the second side on this thing, and this will be face down, pouring the second side, and then we'll take it from there. Then after that, I'll apply the other handles. Then I'm going into a whole nother thing that I've never done on here. So stay tuned, guys. We'll be right back. Hey guys, all right, so I got these handles on here you guys saw in that last scene. I just wanted to give you another look at this thing. I don't know if Vicky had a chance to really get in and look at this thing close, but man, it is spectacular. It just is absolutely perfect glass finish on top. But the other thing is, we are out of time. It is way late on this thing, so I'm going to close this thing up now, and we're going to have to make a third video because not only do we have another pour on the other side of this, but then I've got two other big elements that I'm going to do on this thing. That's why there's so much space at the ends, some other stuff that I'm going to do. So that'll be on the next video. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoy this. Hope it is helpful to you. This is definitely something, having a two-sided reversible serving board like this is way different than anything we've done before. So anyway, thanks again to Clay and Chad for the opportunity to do this for you guys. So if you guys have any questions, anybody have any questions on the resin or the handle or anything that we've done on this, be sure and let me know. Eric@makeawoodsign.com. If you need supplies, there's the website. Please give us a like. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. Share this with other woodworkers that want to know how to make signs and the kind of stuff that we do. And we would appreciate it greatly. And hope you guys have a great one. And we will see you on the next video. Bye-bye.